Okay, we got a new week of NFL action, and I think this one's going to be difficult. I look at the slate of games we have this week, and I see some good games. I see some competitive games. I see a lot of upset potential, but I got to take my shots. So, kick things off. We got Baltimore and Cleveland. You know, Cleveland's trying to save their season over the last couple weeks. They're 3-4 now. And if they win this game, we got to take them seriously as wild card contenders. They're at home, but you know, in spite of the wins, Derek Anderson still isn't exactly playing the best ball we've ever seen. And Baltimore's defense, well, we know about Baltimore's defense. We know how good it is. I think they're going to make him look stupid out there. So, yeah, I'm going to take Baltimore. Buffalo, New York. Buffalo is missing some players. Josh Reed, Schobel, Butler. But they're coming off a loss, a tough loss. A game they know they should have won. So I don't think they're going to let down 2 weeks in a row. They're at home. You know, the Jets, while talented, have had some really bad coaching over the last several weeks. Really, this whole season, they've had some bad coaching. And I see that continuing into this week. How that will affect them, I'm not totally sure yet. But on top of all that, the Jets do not have David Harris. So I will take the Bills at home. Jacksonville, Cincinnati. Jacksonville, you know, they're playing for their season. And from what I understand, Carson Palmer is probably going to get shut down for the year. So, yeah, I like Jacksonville on the road in that one. Actually, this week I like a lot of road teams. Tennessee, Green Bay. Upset potential here. But, you know, Green Bay's run defense, I don't know if I trust it. Tennessee has, you know, has that great defense, and Green Bay can't really run the ball very well. So, even though I think there's some potential here, I gotta go with Tennessee because I think they're going to be able to dominate the running game on both offense and defense. Tampa Bay, Kansas City. Tampa Bay. Chicago, Detroit. Chicago. Some of these aren't too bad, actually. Some of these, it's nice to have a couple of easy games here and there. Houston, Minnesota. I think Minnesota is going to have Kevin and Pat Williams for this game. Both of them are facing suspensions, but I don't think it's going to happen yet. Probably in a couple weeks. So they're at home. Both teams are 3-4, playing for their wild card hopes. Whoever loses is probably going to fall out of it. Whoever wins is looking awful good. Let's see here. Houston's record's probably deceptive. Ever since the Texans decided to use Andre Johnson, they've been playing a lot better. Ever since Steve Slayton started getting the ball more, they've been playing a lot better. They've lost close games. And you remember the hurricane thing I talked about earlier. I thought that would ruin their whole season. As it turned out, it looks like it only ruined their first month. So they've recovered from that hurricane debacle, and they've won, I think, 3 in a row. And they're figuring out how to use their team to their, you know, and they figured out how to use their talent. Getting it to Andre Johnson, feeding it to Steve Slayton, using Kevin Walter and Owen Daniels in the red zone. So, this is difficult, but I'm going to take Houston on the road. I have a better feeling about them here. I think they're a little hotter, even though Minnesota's coming off a bye, and this one could really go either way. Arizona, St. Louis. I haven't sold myself quite into St. Louis yet. It is a weird situation because, yeah, they beat the Skins, but Washington plays down to their opponents. Yeah, they beat Dallas, but, you know, Dallas didn't bring it that day. I think it was pretty obvious. And they hung close with New England. I don't know if that's an accomplishment. So it's really difficult for me to put my finger on this Rams team. But I do not think they're as good as the last 3 weeks might indicate. So I'll say Arizona puts the final stake in their hearts and takes the win on the road. Denver, Miami. This is the kind of game Miami will win. But I don't want to bet against Denver again. I feel this is hard, man. I mean, this Denver team coming off a bye, no semblance of defense. Miami's not a great team, but they have some nice things going for them. This could be this is going to be a blowout one way or another, I'm pretty sure. So I'll stake my bets one last time with Denver. Just see if they can get things back on track. I got Denver. Atlanta recently lost Sam Baker to surgery. He'll be back in, I guess, like a month, which is a tough loss. But I think Atlanta's a pretty well-coached team. I think they realize you got to run the ball when you're playing Oakland, opposed to a team like the Jets. So I think they know that this Sunday will not be Matt Ryan's day to shine. It's going to be the Michael Turner show, and hopefully Matt Ryan can avoid the turnovers. And I think the coaching staff will understand that, so I'll take Atlanta over Oakland. Philly, Seattle. I don't like the way we match up. Look at this game. Kevin Curtis and Deshaun Jackson. One of these guys is going to get matched up with Josh Wilson or Kelly Jennings. And with the style they play, they're very quick, they're very fast, they're downfield threats. They're a little smaller than your average receiver, but they can make big plays. I don't like that matchup at all. I think they're just going to be blowing past Wilson or Jennings all day, just with the way they match up. And, they've got that all-pro secondary with, Dawkins and Samuel and Shepard and Brown and that pass rush and everything else. Going up against, a team that's very lackluster at wide receiver right now, so they can afford to single cover. I mean, they can single cover Bobby Ingram with Sheldon Brown and Corin Robinson with Lito Shepard and Billy McMullen with Asante Samuel all day and just blitz the hell out of us. I just don't like this matchup. I think we match up really poorly. I think it's kind of sad that it gets to this point where I expect to be blown out at home, and I hate it. I just don't like this matchup much at all. So I got Philly, hoping for the best as always. I just don't like this matchup. Dallas, New York. This was a matchup. The two New York and Dallas games were probably my most anticipated games to see this year because of what happened last year in the regular season and the postseason and the rivalry and the way these teams match up. But Dallas, it's still hard to get very excited for this game. It's not that Dallas is an awful team because of their injuries. It just feels like they don't quite match up. So I think the Giants are going to roll here. I got the Giants in the Meadowlands. New England, Indy. Indy is probably more desperate. If they game plan well, they can really exploit the weakness of New England in terms of, getting a good pass rush, going deep on the secondary, and all the things that various teams this year have shown that you can do against New England. So, at home, I'm going Indy. I'll stick with them until the very end, even if it kills me. Pittsburgh, Washington. Washington has players on their offense that have been playing as well as you could ask. Campbell, Portis, Moss, Cooley. These guys are, just playing great football right now, and yet I see Pittsburgh shutting them down in Washington. It's weird. It's just the style of play. I just see Pittsburgh holding Washington to 13, 17 points. On the other side, I don't know if Washington has the pass rush to exploit the Pittsburgh offensive line, which is what you need to do to beat Pittsburgh. So, I'm going to take Pittsburgh in Washington. And those are my picks. See y'all later.